Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the fast-paced modern world? Have you sought a sense of tranquility amidst chaos, or clarity in the face of uncertainty? What if I told you that there is a path, a way of life, that could provide you with the tools to navigate the challenges of life with equanimity and resilience? That path is Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that is as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Stoicism is an enduring philosophy that originated in the Hellenistic period, but its timeless wisdom resonates powerfully in today's world. Stoicism teaches us how to lead a fulfilling life, how to manage our emotions, and how to face adversity with strength and poise. It advises us to focus on what's within our control and accept what's beyond it. And one of the greatest exponents of this school of thought was Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher from Rome. Born in the year 4 BC, Seneca was a man of many talents, a philosopher, statesman, dramatist, and in one part of his life, an advisor to the Emperor Nero. But what we remember him most for today, and what has influenced generations of thinkers, leaders, and everyday people alike, is his profound philosophical writings. His philosophical works have stood the test of time, providing guidance and insights that remain astonishingly applicable to the challenges we face today. Among his various contributions, Letters from a Stoic stands out as an especially powerful piece. It's a compilation of 124 letters that Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius, where he shared his wisdom, reflections, and advice on a range of topics. These letters offer a rich tapestry of wisdom, a timeless guide to the art of living well. They remind us of the importance of virtue, the significance of living in the moment, the power of resilience in the face of adversity, and much more. These lessons from Seneca are not just theoretical musings. They are practical pieces of advice that we can apply in our daily lives. They offer a roadmap for us, a guide on how to lead a good life, how to find peace in a chaotic world, how to deal with adversity and hardship, how to cultivate true friendships, and how to find happiness in our lives. As we embark on this journey into the heart of Stoicism through Seneca's letters, it is crucial to understand the applicability and significance of these teachings in our contemporary times. The world we live in today is vastly different from Seneca's Rome, but the human condition, our hopes, fears, challenges, and emotions remain fundamentally the same. In an era of information overload, where our senses are continuously bombarded with distractions, the Stoic principle of focusing on what's within our control becomes a beacon of clarity. It helps us declutter our minds, guiding us to direct our energies on our actions and responses rather than fretting over external circumstances. This principle can not only enhance our productivity, but also bring a sense of calm and serenity in the midst of chaos. Our modern society often equates success with material wealth and social status. However, Seneca's letters remind us that true wealth and happiness stem from virtue and wisdom. These teachings encourage us to redefine our notions of success, to strive for personal growth, ethical living, and meaningful relationships, thereby fostering a deep and lasting sense of fulfillment. Moreover, in a world that tends to shy away from discussions about mortality, Seneca's frank discourse on life and death is refreshingly insightful. His views encourage us to confront and contemplate our mortality, allowing us to live more purposefully, cherishing each moment, and making the most of our finite lives. Furthermore, as mental health issues become increasingly prevalent, Seneca's advice on managing our emotions, from anger and fear to anxiety and sadness, offers valuable strategies. His teachings on emotional resilience, self-discipline, and the power of rational thought can serve as crucial tools in our psychological toolkit. The lessons we're about to explore are far from obsolete philosophical thoughts. They are practical, powerful, and profoundly relevant to our modern lives. They offer timeless wisdom that can guide us in navigating our complex world with equanimity, courage, and wisdom. Seneca, like many Stoics, held a transformative perspective on adversity. He viewed it not as a hindrance, but as a necessary part of life that could foster personal growth and resilience. In one of his letters he wrote, "Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men." This analogy beautifully encapsulates Seneca's stance on hardships. Just as gold is refined through fire, it is through facing and overcoming adversities that our character is tested and strengthened. This statement is not an invitation to seek out hardship for hardship's sake. It is a call to shift our perspective on the difficulties we encounter. It is about finding the strength and resolve within ourselves to endure tough times and emerge on the other side, not just intact, but stronger and wiser. How then do we apply this wisdom to our modern lives? Let's start with an example. Consider the global pandemic that swept across the world. For many, it was an intense period of adversity. It brought along physical health threats, mental health challenges, financial instability, and a profound sense of uncertainty. However, it also served as a test, a fire, if you will, that allowed individuals, communities, and even nations to display resilience, innovate, and evolve. We've seen people adapt to working from home, businesses shift to digital platforms, communities come together to support each other, and healthcare systems innovate rapidly to combat the virus. On a personal level, hardships could take the form of a lost job, the end of a relationship, or a health scare. These are undoubtedly painful experiences, but they also provide opportunities for growth. Losing a job could open the door to finding a more fulfilling career or even starting your own business. The end of a relationship could lead to a period of self-discovery and self-improvement. A health scare might serve as a wake-up call to start prioritizing your well-being and make healthier lifestyle choices. In all these situations, the Stoic approach is not to ignore or suppress the pain. It's about acknowledging the pain, accepting the reality of the situation, and then using it as a catalyst for change and growth. It's about realizing that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. Now, this doesn't mean that navigating hardships will be easy, but Seneca's teachings offer us an empowering perspective. It's a perspective that reframes adversity from being a blockade to a stepping stone, a test that refines us and makes us stronger. It's a perspective that encourages us to face challenges head-on with courage and resilience. Let's remember that hardships are not necessarily hindrances, but can be powerful catalysts for personal growth. So the next time you face adversity, remember Seneca's words, "Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men." You have the strength within you to navigate life's hardships, and each challenge you overcome is an opportunity to become a stronger, wiser version of yourself. One of Seneca's most profound teachings revolves around the concept of time. He provides us with a stark reminder of its fleeting nature in his letter, stating, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all well invested." This insight challenges our usual perceptions, suggesting that life isn't inherently short, but it becomes so when we squander the time given to us. In our modern, fast-paced world, this lesson rings especially true. We often find ourselves running from one commitment to another, so caught up in our routines and future plans that we fail to appreciate the present. We delay our happiness for some distant future, thinking, "I'll be happy when I get that promotion," or "I'll enjoy life when I retire." But Seneca urges us to reconsider this approach. The Stoics emphasized the importance of living in the present moment, cherishing the here and now, instead of constantly worrying about the past or the future. This doesn't mean we shouldn't plan for the future or learn from the past, but it does mean that we should strive to make the most of each moment, recognizing that time, once gone, cannot be reclaimed. But how does this relate to our lives today, and how can we apply Seneca's wisdom to our life? Firstly, we can practice mindfulness, the art of being fully engaged in the present moment. Whether you're working, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying a quiet moment alone, try to be fully present, savoring the experience without distraction. This not only allows you to appreciate each moment more deeply, but can also improve your focus, productivity, and overall well-being. Secondly, reflect on your daily activities and routines. Are there areas where you're wasting time on unfulfilling or unnecessary tasks? Can you delegate, eliminate, or streamline these activities to free up more time for what truly matters to you? Remember, every minute spent on something meaningless is a minute taken away from something meaningful. Thirdly, cultivate a sense of gratitude for the time you have. Instead of bemoaning the quick passage of time, appreciate each day, each hour, and even each breath, recognizing them as the precious gifts they are. Finally, ensure that you're not just living for the future. Set goals and strive for them, but don't forget to find joy and fulfillment in the journey towards those goals. After all, life is happening right now, in the present moment. Seneca's reflection on the shortness of life is a powerful wake-up call for all of us. It's a call to stop wasting time, to stop postponing our happiness for the future, and to start living fully in the present. It's a call to remember that our time is limited and to make the most of the time we have. In the end, it's not about how much time we have, but how we choose to use it. As Seneca reminds us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. So let's strive to make each moment count, living fully in the present and making the most of the precious time we have. In his wide-ranging exploration of life and philosophy, Seneca didn't leave out the significance of human relationships. He held a deep understanding of the human need for connection, and his thoughts on friendship remain particularly resonant today. He said, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." This simple yet profound observation is packed with wisdom about the nature and importance of genuine friendship. At its core, this statement underscores empathy as the cornerstone of any true friendship or relationship. To understand and to be understood means to share a deep sense of mutual empathy, a willingness to listen and to share, to perceive the world through another's eyes, and to let them see through yours. So how does this ancient wisdom hold up in our modern context? Firstly, we must understand that true friendships are not formed merely by spending time together or sharing common interests. The essence of a meaningful relationship lies in empathy, in understanding each other's joys, pains, ambitions, fears, and most importantly, offering support and compassion through all life's ups and downs. In an era where we are increasingly connected digitally, yet risk being emotionally distant, it becomes essential to nurture these deep, understanding relationships. Despite our busy schedules, we must strive to invest time and energy into these bonds. This might mean having heart-to-heart conversations, being there for each other in times of need, or simply sharing moments of joy and laughter together. Secondly, Seneca's wisdom invites us to reflect on our existing relationships. Are they based on mutual understanding and empathy, or are they superficial? Are we maintaining relationships that drain us, or are we surrounded by people who understand and uplift us? Remember, it's the quality of our friendships, not the quantity, that truly counts. Lastly, Seneca's quote is not merely about being understood, but also about understanding others. This means we should strive to be good listeners, to be compassionate, to understand others without judgment. It's about making a conscious effort to understand their perspectives, their feelings, and their experiences. It's about cultivating empathy and letting it guide our interactions. In a world where misunderstandings often lead to conflicts, practicing this kind of understanding and empathy can lead to stronger, more fulfilling relationships. It can foster deeper connections, not just with our friends, but with our family members, colleagues, and even the strangers we interact with. Seneca's wisdom reminds us of the power of understanding and being understood. It reminds us that at the heart of every great friendship lies mutual empathy. So let's take Seneca's advice to heart and strive to build friendships based on understanding and empathy. As we foster such relationships, we not only enrich our own lives but also bring joy and understanding into the lives of others. In this way, we create a ripple effect of positivity and connection, building a world that understands and is understood. Seneca's teachings encompass various facets of life, including emotional management, specifically dealing with anger. He astutely observes, "There is no more stupefying thing than anger, nothing more bent on its own strength." This lesson from Seneca is a testament to the Stoic practice of exercising control over one's emotional state, and it offers valuable insights on managing what can be one of the most destructive emotions, anger. Seneca posits anger as a self-obsessed and self-sustaining emotion. When we're angry, we become trapped within the confines of our own emotion, often leading to irrational decisions and actions that we later regret. Anger, in Seneca's view, is not just another emotion, it is a consuming and obstructive force that impedes our judgment and tranquility. In the heat of the moment, it's all too easy to surrender to anger's strength. But how do we apply Seneca's wisdom to prevent this? How can we, as modern individuals living in an often stress-filled and contentious world, better manage our anger? Firstly, Seneca urges us to recognize the self-destructive nature of anger. This understanding is the first step in managing our anger effectively. By acknowledging that anger often harms us more than the ones we are angry at, we can begin to distance ourselves from this powerful emotion, viewing it more objectively. Secondly, we need to cultivate self-awareness. We should strive to identify the triggers that provoke our anger and recognize the physical and mental signs that we're becoming angry. This self-awareness can serve as an early warning system, allowing us to take proactive measures before our anger escalates. Next, once we've identified that we're becoming angry, Seneca's teachings guide us to employ rational thought. The Stoics were firm believers in the power of reason and logic. In moments of anger, we should pause and reflect, using reason to dispel the cloud of rage. Ask yourself, will my anger resolve the situation? Is my reaction proportional to the situation? What would be a more productive response? Additionally, practicing mindfulness and relaxation techniques can also help manage anger. Techniques like deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or even taking a walk can help calm the mind and body, providing a much-needed break from a heated situation. Lastly, adopting a Stoic perspective, we should remind ourselves that we can't control others' actions, only our responses. If someone's actions provoke us, we can choose not to react with anger, but to respond with understanding or, if necessary, firm assertiveness. Managing anger isn't about suppressing our feelings, it's about addressing them in a healthier and more productive way. By applying Seneca's wisdom, we can break free from the destructive cycle of anger, cultivating instead peace of mind and emotional resilience. In essence, Seneca encourages us to see anger for what it truly is, a strong, self-defeating emotion, and arms us with the tools to combat it. It's a lesson in reclaiming our power from anger and channeling it into more constructive avenues. So let us heed his wise words and strive not just to manage our anger, but to rise above it, transforming it into understanding, patience, and ultimately, tranquility. A core tenet of Stoicism and central to Seneca's teachings is the notion that virtue is nothing else than right reason. This perspective illuminates virtue as the pinnacle of human ethics and morality, and it reveals Stoicism's profound commitment to moral integrity. But what exactly does Seneca mean when he speaks of virtue and right reason? And how can we integrate these principles? Seneca, like other Stoic philosophers, saw virtue as the highest good, superior to wealth, reputation, pleasure, or even life itself. In his view, the virtuous person lives according to reason and wisdom, treating others with fairness, showing courage in the face of adversity, exercising self-control in the presence of temptation, and displaying wisdom in all aspects of life. So how does one translate the theoretical concept of right reason into daily practice? Firstly, we can cultivate virtue by embracing wisdom and reason as guiding principles in our life. This means making decisions that are not only beneficial to us but also ethical and just. It involves constantly seeking knowledge and understanding, being open to different perspectives, and applying critical thinking to navigate life's complexities. Secondly, Seneca encourages us to reflect on our actions and attitudes. Are they in line with the virtues we aspire to cultivate? Do we exhibit integrity even when no one is watching? Do we choose the right and just path, even when the wrong one might be more convenient or rewarding? Regular self-reflection can help us align our actions with our moral compass, ensuring that we are living in accordance with virtue. Furthermore, cultivating virtue involves practicing empathy and compassion. It requires us to recognize the inherent worth of every individual and to treat others with kindness and respect. It means standing up against injustice, lending a helping hand to those in need, and striving to contribute positively to our communities. Lastly, to live according to right reason, we need to nurture a sense of resilience and equanimity. Life will inevitably throw challenges our way, but a virtuous person faces these challenges with strength and calm, not allowing external circumstances to compromise their moral values. By integrating these principles into our daily lives, we can bring Seneca's teachings to life. We can live in accordance with virtue and right reason, fostering a sense of fulfillment and peace that extends beyond transient pleasures or external achievements. Seneca's emphasis on virtue serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of moral integrity. In a world often driven by materialistic pursuits, his teachings inspire us to prioritize virtue, to strive for moral excellence, and to live in harmony with our highest values. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, let Seneca's wisdom guide us towards a life of virtue, a life guided by right reason, and a life that, in its very essence, embodies the highest good. Seneca, though himself a wealthy man, was known for his untraditional views on wealth and happiness. Contrary to the common notion that equates wealth with happiness, Seneca saw virtue and wisdom as the true sources of happiness. He profoundly said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." This statement, rich in meaning, invites us to rethink our perception of wealth, happiness, and the role adversity plays in our lives. At first glance, this quote might seem counterintuitive. After all, don't we all aspire to lead lives free from hardship and adversity? Yet, Seneca insists that a life untouched by adversity leaves us unhappy and unfulfilled. So what does he mean? Seneca's philosophy highlights that adversity is a catalyst for growth and self-realization. Without adversity, we are not granted the opportunity to test our resilience, to discover our strengths, and to realize our potential. In essence, it is through overcoming challenges that we truly come to understand ourselves and our capabilities. This self-realization, this growth born out of struggle, is where true happiness lies. The pursuit of wealth, on the other hand, often leads us away from this path of self-realization. Wealth can provide comfort and security, but it can also lead to complacency, indulgence, and a sense of entitlement. When we're cushioned by wealth, we might miss the opportunity to test our mettle, to learn, grow, and prove our worth. How can we apply Seneca's teachings to redefine our concepts of wealth and happiness in our modern context? Firstly, Seneca's wisdom encourages us to embrace adversity rather than avoid it. When we face a challenge, instead of seeing it as an obstacle, we can view it as an opportunity to grow and learn. It's about adopting a resilient mindset, a perspective that sees adversity as a stepping stone towards self-improvement. Secondly, we should strive to balance our pursuit of wealth with the cultivation of virtue and wisdom. It's not about rejecting wealth outright, but about ensuring that our quest for material success doesn't overshadow our moral and personal growth. Thirdly, Seneca reminds us that true wealth isn't just about accumulating material possessions. It's about cultivating a rich inner life filled with virtue, wisdom, resilience, and self-realization. In other words, the wealthiest person is not necessarily the one with the most possessions, but the one who has developed a strong character and found peace within themselves. Lastly, Seneca's teachings guide us towards a more nuanced understanding of happiness. Happiness isn't merely the absence of adversity. It's about finding fulfillment and growth amidst life's challenges. It's about embracing life in all its ups and downs and finding joy in the journey of self-discovery. Seneca's perspective on wealth and happiness offers us a much-needed alternative to the materialistic worldview prevalent in our society. It encourages us to seek out the true riches of life: wisdom, virtue, resilience, and self-realization. Let us heed Seneca's wisdom and strive for a life that balances material wealth with inner richness, a life that finds happiness not in the absence of adversity, but in the ability to navigate it with grace, strength, and wisdom. One of the core principles of Stoicism is living in harmony with nature, an idea powerfully encapsulated by Seneca's words: God is near you, He is with you, He is within you. To fully understand the depth of this statement, we need to delve into Stoic philosophy's interpretation of God and nature. In Stoicism, God is often synonymous with nature or the universe, the rational principle that governs the world. Thus, Seneca's quote suggests that we carry within us a spark of the divine, the universal reason, or the logos. Therefore, living in harmony with nature means aligning ourselves with this inherent rationality and the world's natural laws. We must first recognize the inherent rationality within us. As part of nature, we possess the capability of reason, a feature that distinguishes humans. This rationality allows us to discern, understand, and conform to the natural order of things. Therefore, living in harmony with nature involves using our reason to make thoughtful decisions, to differentiate between right and wrong, and to navigate life's challenges. Furthermore, Seneca's quote also prompts us to accept the natural order of the universe. Just like nature has its cycles of birth, growth, decay, and death, so do our lives embody these phases. By understanding and accepting this, we learn to navigate the ebb and flow of life, finding peace in the impermanence of things and appreciating the present moment. In addition, living in harmony with nature means recognizing our interconnectedness with others and the world at large. Just as the elements in nature coexist in a delicate balance, we are part of a broader community of fellow humans, other creatures, and the environment. Therefore, living in accordance with nature requires fostering healthy relationships, contributing positively to our communities, and treating our environment with respect. Lastly, Seneca's words remind us of the divine presence within us, the essence of our true nature. By aligning our actions with our rational nature and universal principles, we honor this inner divinity, leading a life of integrity, virtue, and inner peace. In essence, Seneca's teachings on living in harmony with nature offer a blueprint for a fulfilling life. It encourages us to embrace our rationality, to accept life's natural rhythms, and to acknowledge our interconnectedness with the universe. As we strive to live in accordance with these principles, we draw closer to our truest selves, leading lives of greater wisdom, virtue, and inner harmony. In his writings, Seneca often spoke about the critical role of self-discipline in leading a good life. This perspective is beautifully encapsulated in his quote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Firstly, it's essential to understand what Seneca means by craving more. This craving reflects unchecked desires and appetites, the insatiable longing for more, be it more wealth, more status, or more pleasure. According to Seneca, this constant yearning renders us poor, regardless of how much we possess. It's a poverty of contentment, a lack of self-discipline that leaves us perpetually dissatisfied, always chasing after the next source of gratification. Mastering self-discipline, therefore, is about learning to control these cravings. It's about cultivating a sense of contentment, learning to value what we have, and managing our desires in a way that aligns with virtue and reason. The first step is to recognize and acknowledge our desires. This involves developing a sense of self-awareness and introspection, understanding our motivations, and recognizing when we are being driven by unchecked cravings. Once we've identified these desires, the next step is to evaluate them. Are they reasonable? Do they align with our values and our understanding of what is truly important in life? Or are they merely feeding into a never-ending cycle of wanting more? This evaluation process should not be seen as a one-time activity, but rather a continual practice. It's about consistently reflecting on our desires, assessing their validity, and adjusting our actions accordingly. It's a process of constant self-examination and self-improvement. The final step is to take active measures to manage these desires. This could involve setting boundaries for ourselves, establishing healthy habits, and seeking support when necessary. It's about actively working towards leading a life that is not dominated by cravings, but guided by reason and virtue. Seneca's teachings on self-discipline serve as a powerful reminder that true wealth lies not in possessing more, but in desiring less. It's about finding contentment in what we have and mastering our desires through self-discipline. In the end, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. As we navigate through the complexities of modern life, may Seneca's wisdom guide us towards mastering self-discipline, managing our desires, and finding true wealth in contentment and virtue. The path may be challenging, but the rewards are immeasurable. Peace of mind, self-respect, and the freedom that comes from no longer being a slave to our desires. Seneca, like many other Stoic philosophers, frequently explored the subject of death, imbuing it with a profound sense of acceptance and tranquility. His views were summarized powerfully in his statement, "Death is the release from all pain and complete relaxation." But what does this Stoic perspective on death entail, and how can it impact our understanding of life and mortality? To comprehend Seneca's perspective, we must first understand the Stoic concept of amor fati, love of one's fate. Stoics encourage us to accept and embrace every aspect of life, including its end. They teach that death, like birth, is a natural part of life, something to be acknowledged rather than feared. His quote, therefore, is a declaration of acceptance. It paints death not as a terrifying end, but as a release, a final relaxation from the trials and tribulations of life. This perspective was not born out of pessimism or a dismissive attitude towards life. Rather, it comes from a deep understanding that all aspects of life, including suffering and pain, are temporary, and death is a natural conclusion to these experiences. Such a perspective on death impacts how we perceive and live our lives. It invites us to live each day fully aware of our mortality, which in turn can make our lives more meaningful and focused. When we fully understand that our time is limited, we begin to appreciate the present moment more deeply and strive to spend our time on what truly matters. Seneca's perspective encourages us to live without the fear of death. It argues that death is not a catastrophe but a natural, inevitable phenomenon. By accepting death, we can relieve ourselves of this fear and live more freely and boldly. It makes us realize that every moment we have is a gift and should be spent wisely. In practical terms, his teachings on death advise us to confront our mortality regularly. Regular reflections on death can make us more resilient in the face of life's challenges, make us appreciate our lives more, and help us prioritize what is genuinely important. It's about developing a mentality that sees death not as an end, but as an integral part of our existence. Seneca's views on death challenge the common narrative that portrays death as the ultimate enemy. Instead, it invites us to see death as a natural part of life's journey, a final release from life's challenges, and a return to the tranquility that existed before birth. So let us approach life with an acceptance of death, not with fear, but with understanding, not with avoidance, but with awareness. For in doing so, we can free ourselves from the fear of death and live life more fully, more courageously, and more meaningfully. Seneca's words offer comfort and a perspective shift, reminding us that death, the final act of our lives, can be faced with the same calm acceptance and understanding with which we face life itself. Among Seneca's timeless wisdom, his guidance on managing fear and anxiety strikes a particular chord, especially in our modern world fraught with uncertainties. His words, "There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," encapsulates a powerful insight on human nature and our tendency to be tormented more by our own fears and anxieties than by actual events. To delve into this lesson, we need first to acknowledge that fear and anxiety primarily reside in our minds, often disconnected from our current reality. Our worries are usually about potential future events or regret over past actions, neither of which we can change in the present. Seneca teaches us that it's this projection into the future or the past that feeds our anxieties and fears. Next, Seneca advises us to differentiate between what's in our control and what's not. This is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. By recognizing that many things are outside our control, including most of the future events we worry about, we can begin to let go of the anxiety surrounding them. We can channel our energy into areas where we can make a difference, which are our thoughts, behaviors, and actions in the present. A powerful technique here is practicing mindfulness and present moment awareness. By being fully present, we root ourselves in reality, reducing the tendency to project our fears into an imagined future or dwell on past regrets. Mindfulness allows us to see things as they are, not as we fear they might be. Additionally, rational thought is a potent tool against fear and anxiety. Seneca and the Stoics emphasize that we should use reason to challenge our fears. Are they rational? Are they based on reality or just a product of our imagination? By questioning our fears and anxieties, we can often realize that they are based on unlikely scenarios or exaggerated outcomes. Lastly, practicing acceptance is key. Acceptance in this context means acknowledging our feelings of fear or anxiety without judgment, and then allowing them to exist without letting them control our actions and decisions. It's about understanding that these feelings are normal human responses, but also recognizing that they don't define us or our reality. In essence, Seneca's guidance invites us to view our fears and anxieties with a rational and present-focused mindset. He encourages us to see that our anxieties often come from dwelling in the future or the past, and that the power to overcome them lies in the here and now. As we navigate our way through life, let Seneca's words serve as a reminder. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Equipped with this wisdom, let's strive to stay present, think rationally, and accept without judgment, for these are our most reliable tools in overcoming fear and anxiety. The art of travel as a remedy for the soul, as Seneca so eloquently puts it in his quote, "We must go for walks out of doors, so that the mind can be strengthened and invigorated by a clear sky and plenty of fresh air," may sound like a modern-day self-help suggestion. Still, in truth, it's an idea deeply rooted in ancient Stoic philosophy. But what did Seneca mean by this, and how can we incorporate this into our lives? At its core, Seneca's call to go out of doors and for walks is a call to break away from our routine, our familiar environment, and to expose ourselves to new experiences, new environments, and new perspectives. For Seneca, travel isn't about luxury or escapism. It's about personal growth, self-reflection, and mental revitalization. It's essential to understand that Seneca was not merely advocating physical travel. It is not just about the journey on foot or by other means from one geographical location to another. Instead, it's about the inward journey we undertake when we step out of our comfort zone. It's about the insights and clarity we gain when we provide our minds with a change of scenery and a chance to break free from the daily grind. Applying this lesson practically, we can seek to regularly change our environment, whether it be taking a walk in a park, a hike through the wilderness, or a trip to a new city or country. These actions give us the clear sky and fresh air that Seneca speaks about, allowing our mind to stretch, rejuvenate, and gain new perspectives. However, it's not just about physical relocation. It's also about being fully present and engaged during these travels. By doing so, we enable ourselves to absorb the environment, soak in the experiences, and allow them to shape our thoughts and understanding. In addition, travel in this context also invites introspection. As we encounter new people, cultures, or environments, we also encounter different aspects of ourselves that might remain hidden in our day-to-day routine. Such introspection can lead to greater self-awareness and a deeper understanding of our values and beliefs. Moreover, in our fast-paced world, our minds are often cluttered with information and distractions. By stepping into a different environment, we can break away from these distractions, offering our minds a much-needed rest and the space to think more clearly and creatively. Seneca's guidance on travel is a reminder of the need for mental and physical breaks from our routine life. It emphasizes that these breaks, these travels, provide a revitalizing effect on our soul and mind. It's a call to venture outside, not just to experience the world around us, but to also embark on an inward journey of self-discovery, growth, and clarity. So let's heed his advice and seek the clear sky and fresh air. Let's travel, not just as a means of transport, but as a remedy for the soul, a path to self-discovery and a gateway to a stronger and invigorated mind. In traversing the intellectual landscape of Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, we've unearthed profound wisdom from one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. We've taken a deep dive into 11 pivotal lessons from his timeless collection of letters, each one opening a unique window to enrich our understanding of life, relationships, virtue, and our very own minds. The lessons we've explored are not only relevant, but immensely practical, touching on areas of life that we all grapple with daily. We started our journey navigating through life's hardships, understanding that adversity is not a cruel impediment, but a test of our mettle, a tool for self-discovery, and a catalyst for personal growth. We delved into the ephemeral nature of time, absorbing Seneca's urgent call to embrace the present, a lesson that urges us to value the now, the moment that is in our hands and fully under our control. We then explored the intricate facets of friendships and relationships, discovering that the crux of a true bond is understanding and being understood. We examined Seneca's guide to peace of mind, his teachings on anger management, emphasizing the stupefying effect of anger and the importance of maintaining control over our emotional responses. We unpacked the cornerstone of Stoicism, virtue as the sole good, a concept that underpins Seneca's ethics and indeed the ethics of all Stoics. We probed Seneca's perspectives on wealth and happiness, understanding that adversity is a necessary companion on the journey to personal growth. We moved on to the concept of living in accordance with nature, a cornerstone of Stoic thought that speaks about harmony, acceptance, and understanding the universal flow of life. We delved into the importance of self-discipline and control over desires, grounding ourselves in the wisdom that craving for more is the real poverty. We analyzed Seneca's perspective on death, a topic often shrouded in fear and uncertainty, and found a sense of peace and acceptance in his teachings. We took a critical look at fear and anxiety, dissecting them with the scalpel of rational thought and present-moment awareness. Lastly, we allowed ourselves to wander with Seneca's thoughts on travel, understanding that travel, in essence, is a journey of the soul, a journey that invigorates the mind and provides fresh perspectives. These lessons, rooted in the depth of Stoicism, provide a compass to navigate the complexities of life. But these insights and this knowledge will only bear fruit when we incorporate them into our daily lives. Reading and understanding is merely the first step. The real journey begins when we live these lessons, when we let them guide our actions, our decisions, and our perspectives. So I invite you to not just listen to these lessons, but to embrace them, to make them a part of your life. Allow Seneca's wisdom to illuminate your path and remember his words in moments of joy and adversity. Let's strive to apply the essence of Stoicism in our everyday lives, cultivating virtue, accepting what is beyond our control, and navigating life's ups and downs with resilience and tranquility. The wisdom from Letters from a Stoic is not a prescription, but a guide, an invitation to look at life through the lens of Stoicism, enabling us to lead lives of purpose, serenity, and profound understanding. Each day provides us with an opportunity to apply these lessons, and it's through these small daily actions that we truly honor Seneca's legacy and enrich our own lives in the process.